The Indiana Fever are improving and headed for the playoffs. A drama that resembles your go-to reality show might feature Nalyssa Smith and Caitlin Clark. You won't think that the Real Housewives' excessive drama is real when you hear about the confrontation. As the playoffs get closer, there is a growing bond between these two basketball players, and the emotions in the locker room soar faster than a three-point shot. Nalyssa, the team's former standout player, appears to be losing out to the amazing Caitlin Clark. In reality, what is happening between Nalyssa and Caitlin? Is there a hint of envy there? Or is it just a fierce competitive spirit that keeps things civil on the court? It's like seeing a jealous, competitive, and slightly shady soap opera play out on the court. People should pass the popcorn. This is the WNBA's biggest issue at the moment. It's not simply a game. You won't want to miss a second of it. So please like and subscribe to our channel before we get any farther into this hot mess.
Anti-white hate towards Caitlin Clark is exactly that. But I could guarantee you if Caitlin Clark would take a knee and she would salute BLM, that all of this might dissipate overnight. But because she has not done that, here we are.
Tommy's right. It's not just race, though. It's also sexuality. Caitlin Clark is a white heterosexual woman in a black league, and they resent and are jealous of all of the attention and the shoe deal that she got. Instead of recognizing the truth, which is great athletes who people care about coming into your league really do make everybody more money, and hey, get you charter airplane flights instead of flying.
The Indiana Fever locker room, once a refuge of camaraderie and team spirit, is now a pressure cooker that could blow at any moment. A rift has emerged, tearing apart a group of players who were once bound together by a shared goal. The fight between two of this rift's brightest stars, which are situated in the center of. This shift is being felt by Nalyssa Smith, the Fever's former shining star, who is currently watching from the sidelines as the spotlight. Smith isn't the type to fade away, so don't write her off just yet. She shines on a fresh player. She's ready to give it her all and speak up, shaking the team with her shockwaves as she speaks into the distance.
Clark off the Smith screen, goes back for Smith, wide open at the foul line, and Smith cashes it.
That screen doubled Caitlin. She didn't get phased and gave it up quickly.
Here's Smith with the steal. Hillman giving chase. Smith to step through and draws the foul.
Took the W season off last year. She would certainly love a little bit of consistency. Ooh, Nalyssa Smith.
Here in the early going tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of talk of Caitlin.
Taylor cut off on the baseline. Smith shot fake the three. Oh, look at the behind the back. And the push shot. Smith showing off the moves.
Nalyssa Smith, such a talented, oh my goodness.
3 or 4 minute rest. Clark working the baseline. Good ball movement here. Smith is wide open and buries a triple.
In the W this season, you saw those numbers there. 3-time Olympic gold medalist, the league MVP, and she looks...
One crucial concern remains as the Fever intensifies. Will they survive this scenario, which entails much more than just a friendly rivalry? It has to do with maintaining one's sense of self and surviving in a league where making a mistake could result in benching oneself, or worse, getting traded to another team. Withstand the approaching confrontation between Smith and the newcomer. What motivates Smith to confront the sportsman who has eclipsed her in popularity? Will Nalyssa Smith make a comeback fit for a Hollywood script, or is her time in Indiana coming to an end?
Caitlin has done for not just college basketball, but for women's basketball, period, I think has been great. The following, people watching the game, sellouts that we haven't seen ever. It just really bothers me, though, when people just take bits and pieces of what they want to take, and they don't listen to everything, and you don't hear everything. It wasn't personal. One, it was my opinion on how I think she'll be at the next level, because I do remember me saying that Caitlin, to me, could be the best college shooter I've ever seen. When you put these expectations on these young women in college to go to the next level and be immediately dominant, and when that doesn't happen, then people come back and say, oh, she was a bust, she was a flop, she wasn't that good. Just let them do what they're doing in college, enjoy what they're doing in college, and let them become stars in the WNBA.
To fully appreciate the gravity of this problem, we need to take a brief look backward. Smith was not just any player on the Fever roster, but the team's rock. Her unrelenting talent and innate leadership characteristics allowed her to reach the peak of the sport, that she distinguished herself as the team's go-to player. She put in a lot of effort to create the future play-by-play for the Indiana Fever, rather than just playing hoops. Both the media and her fans saw her as the complete deal.
My challenge every year is just to get better every single year, and I feel like I did that. I feel like I grew in every category, and I feel like I'm just like keep getting better. 2023 was great. I feel like this season was a great season. You know, going from 5 wins to 13 wins is tremendous, and it just shows the growth that we had over this past year, and I think it's only going to get better from here. I learned a lot about myself. You know, it's my second year of having an injury, so you know, when I have injuries, it's just time to, you know, think about plans for the future and stuff like that. So I feel like I learned a lot about me.
What was the key for you to overcoming the injury and finishing the season strong?
I think it was more so just like the mental part of it, you know, getting back into, you know, playing again and getting back to, you know, how I started the season and just being consistent.
Regretfully, this season has been an unpleasant roller coaster journey. The previous season, Smith was nothing short of phenomenal, averaging a whopping 15, 5 points and 2 rebounds per game, a stat line that would have any coach shaking in their boots. Over her first 9 games, Smith has averaged just 10.8 points and 6.8 rebounds, a sharp drop from her career-high shooting percentage of 50.7% from the field and 41.7% from beyond the arc. This is when things get extremely interesting. Speaking of playtime, actually, she hasn't been playing as much. Amidst all of this, Caitlin Clark, the new sensation, is the Fever's new center of attention. Smith has been benched for 2 games, while Clark has swiftly emerged as the new Fever's darling thanks to her clutch performances and game-winning 3-pointers. In addition, her average minutes per game have decreased to a pathetic 23. 3 from 28, 5 in the previous season and 30, 7 in her debut campaign.
It's a pretty good team.
That was what made that team so good, you two? Outside Clark again!
Clark over Horston, hits a 3. Knows no bounds.
Horston's got to come with hands up. You can't let Clark see the rim.
Nice. Boy, Enrique gave it to McCowan, who couldn't finish. Behind the back again for Clark. Give her another assist.
This sudden shift in focus is somewhat unexpected from a guy who used to be the team's mainstay. Smith's play is notable more than Clark's publicity. While Clark is making headlines, time passes. Smith is forced to sit through the NCAA tournament, and believe me when I say that she is getting more and more irritated than a weed.
Tournament. And I was like, what do they feed the players in Texas? Well, what are they feeding Caitlin Clark? Because there we go with another behind the back and fancy finish.
And look, there is no question that the paint is a completely different story as Clark just went right by her former teammate and laid it in. She's got 20. And look, there is no question.
Trying to clear 8. Shot clock down to 9. Here as Clark gets inside. The scoop shot falls. Indiana scoring has done it from the 3.
Clark working on Van Loo. Oh, Clark, pretty step back. Hits a 3.
Watch Caitlin Clark get a little separation there. See, when the hand extends from the body, that is usually when they call an offensive
foul. Keeps it alive. Clark with the shot clock fading. Great look, and Smith lays it in.
Beautiful. And then Caitlin Clark here, this could be jail. And instead,
We're going to expect a big night here for Cunningham. She does a good job stepping in when she needs to.
At first, Smith tried to mask her discontent, believing that if she worked hard and persisted, she would eventually get the chance to have the moment she so much wanted. However, as long as Clark enjoyed being in the spotlight, Smith's patience ran out. She started to express her dissatisfaction through like tweets that seemed to be critical of the Fever or hinted at her anger, albeit subtly. When Smith tweeted something about how certain people seemed to have all the opportunities, it caused a significant shift in the situation. Fans, ever the social media investigators, quickly noted this tendency and wondered whether she was transmitting a subtle message about her displeasure. She didn't give names, but it was clear who she was aiming for. Smith had hit her breaking point, and her tweet was like a flare shooting into the sky. Soon after, she took an unexpected turn during a rehearsal and made a bold move that nobody saw coming. While others worked twice as hard merely to get a seat on the bench, Smith utilized her challenge to Clark to show that she was still a viable opponent in a shooting duel, and that she refused to be disregarded. The gym shifted dramatically when teammates realized this wasn't your average practice, and that week's worth of tension and animosity were about to blow up. The competitor, Clark, accepted the challenge with a smile on her face and an eagerness to show the audience why she was the current favorite. The gym was turned into a gladiatorial arena where Wills and his opponent traded blows. Smith took the opening shot, which found its mark with ease. Her comrades held their breath, knowing that this was a personal battle rather than merely a practice. Smith and Clark continued to trade blows during the drill, each escalating the stakes. Smith's confidence increased with each basket, and Clark responded with her own clutch baskets, showcasing her skill with the flair. The drill ended with a laugh, but the tension below remained high, indicating that this competition was far from over.
I swear I've never seen a league like the WNBA where you can't just be happy with a win. Something always has to come into the equation after the fact. Usually it's people hating on Caitlin Clark or, discussing some sort of discourse that happened online. Dejanay Carrington has been part of that in the past. She said stuff after games that became a topic of conversation, most recently after a Fever win over the Sun. And I gotta tell you, this one annoyed me a little bit. And let me be clear. I don't care about Nalyssa Smith and Dejanay Carrington's relationship. That is their business. That is their personal business. I hope they are both happy. I hope they're happy together. Whatever that relationship looks like, it's fine. But when you talk about the playoffs, it's another subplot going into what is likely going to be, or it might be locked by now, a Fever and Sun playoff series. And the Carrington-Caitlin Clark on-court rivalry is awesome and electric. I love that. But you could almost look at it as gamesmanship.
The locker room was split on Smith's challenge, even if nobody was discussing it in public. Smith's mounting discontent and Clark's rise to prominence made it clear that the dynamics of the squad had shifted dramatically. The root of all this drama, difficulty, and boiling tension was evident and unambiguous. As the Indiana Fever get ready for the postseason, it's actually more important to worry about whether Nalyssa Smith and Caitlin Clark will mesh well together, given that Smith struggled to adapt to a rapidly shifting team dynamic. As both players vie for attention while sharing a squad, creating the sense that the Fever's future is in peril, fans are drawn to the drama.
First time in 7 seasons, the Fever heading to the playoffs.
Yeah, this will be the 14th playoff appearance for the Fever franchise. CBS 4's Claire Curry joins us live now at Bicentennial Unity Plaza down by Gamebridge Fieldhouse with how fans are feeling about it. Hi, Claire.
That's right. I'm here outside Gamebridge where fans are arriving to the game, all excited for tonight's game against the LA Sparks, but even more excited that the Fever have secured their spot into the WNBA playoff.
In conclusion, the disagreement between Nalyssa Smith and Caitlin Clark has become a significant issue as the Indiana Fever approach the postseason. The underlying rivalry and overshadowing of this disagreement have created tension in the locker room and jeopardized the team's togetherness. As the rivalry grows, supporters observe and speculate about how it might impact the Fever's on-court success. Is Nalyssa going to stand up and reclaim her role, or is Caitlin going to keep stealing the show? Nalyssa used to be the show's star, but nowadays she struggles to stay in the background, and it shows how frustrated she is. As the playoffs draw near, pressure is mounting, and emotions are high. Every game will be important for developing team dynamics in addition to winning. It's not just about winning. It's about pride and survival in a league where decisions and performances now have an impact on opportunities down the road. In order to determine whether the team can work together or if the friction will hinder their prospects of success, Smith and Clark's interactions will be crucial. If the Fever hopes to keep up their playoff push, they will need to manage this internal strife wisely. Both players are still incredibly gifted and motivated, but how they resolve their differences will be critical to the team's success in the long run. With the playoffs soon approaching, the question of whether these two players can get along on the court arises. As the Fever prepares for the postseason, how well they manage and resolve this tension will affect the players' individual journeys as well as the team's overall success. If they are to keep the Fever alive, Nalyssa and Caitlin must prioritize the team's goals and embrace their respective roles as teammates or rivals. Fans are watching intently to see whether they can fix this issue and channel their competing passions into a shared objective. They are eager to see how the Fever will handle this pressing matter. Will the conflict stop them from gaining momentum, or will they overcome internal difficulties and make a successful postseason run? Should Nalyssa and Caitlin reconcile, the Indiana Fever must face this issue. Should this occur, the group may come out stronger and more cohesive. As this issue progresses, one thing is for sure: the WNBA has a fascinating tale to tell. In the cutthroat realm of professional basketball, it's imperative to preserve concentration and cohesion. Although Smith and Clark can have a big impact, how they handle their rivalry will determine their team contribution. As the Fever get ready for their postseason games, cooperation and a common goal will be necessary to fulfill their playoff dreams. While we look ahead to the playoffs, let's keep an eye on how this situation plays out, since the playoffs are a key time for growth and resilience, and the Fever is at a tipping point that could influence their future. As they take on this assignment, the basketball community will be watching the Indiana Fever with bated breath, wondering if they will emerge victorious or with further problems. The group is ready for a major breakthrough, since there is little doubt that this issue is far from being resolved and will impact the team moving forward. We would appreciate hearing your thoughts. What are your thoughts about this situation? Does Nalyssa want to reclaim her position, or is Caitlin's rise to prominence a temporary one? Kindly post a comment below, and remember to hit like. Additionally, don't forget to subscribe for more updates on this pressing issue and all things WNBA. The playoffs are drawing near, and you won't want to miss what happens next.